Welcome to Bhagwan Ki Baatein, the YouTube channel where we talk only and only about God. In the ongoing series, Stories of Great Saints, we are narrating the story, or rather some of the episodes from the life of great Bhakt Narsi Mehta. In the last capsule, we heard how Narsi Mehta's son was getting married to daughter of a rich merchant who wanted to mock him. Let's see what happens next. The two-faced earthworm went in the month of Shravan to ask for the daughter of the serpent Shesh. The serpent replied to him that the marriage would take place in the month of Vaishak, when the hot season was near. The two-faced Davane had died. Just so, I have announced that the marriage would take place on the morrow, as they say. The priest replied to him, "You are an unfaithful man. You are not thoughtful. Your heart is full of pride. You will be very soon dishonored." Duryodhan was dishonored because he persecuted the good Draupadi. The same thing will happen to you today, I think. On the next day, Narsi Mehta, at the rising of the sun, performed his bath and worshipped Sri Krishna. He drew 12 marks on his forehead in person. He hung the tulsi garland around his neck. He took along with him Vaishnavas all the time, repeating the names of God. Taking his son and wife with him, this Bhakt of Vishnu started for the marriage. With music of cymbals and drums, and the veena of goddess of Hari was described. Victory, victory. Mukund, enemy of Mura, the Rakshas Mura, helper of the helpless, advocate of your bhaktas, ancient of days, slayer of the Daityas, Madhu and Ketab, dweller in the hearts of your bhaktas. Victory to you, dweller at Dwarika, lord of the earth, husband of Rukmani, father of Brahmadev, slayer of Kans. You are the one dear friend of your bhaktas. Victory to you, God supreme, Lord eternal, protector of your bhaktas, slayer of Madhu, pervader of universe, life of the world, delight of the heart, Govind. Victory to you, ancient of days, possessor of names without end, whose name is the being of qualities, the dark complexioned one, the wish tree of your bhaktas, delight of the heart, Shri Hari. Thus, describing the qualities of Shri Hari in this way, they sang and danced in their love. Narsi Mehta walked along at that time full of joy. At that time, Shri Hari was seated on his throne in Dwarka and went into the private room and sent for Rukmani. He said to her, "The great Bhakt Narsi Mehta has with reverent spirit followed me. The marriage of his son takes place today, but he is singing of my qualities without any sense of shame. We should now go there before him and ourselves and bring the ceremony to a successful consummation." Thus speaking, that storehouse of compassion gathered together an assembly of bhaktas: Udhav, Akrur, Narad, Tumbar, Shuk, Valmiki, Prahlad, the great Bibhishan, Vidur and Maruti were quickly invited. Sudama, Pinda, Vankada, Vadaja, Kana, also set of cowherds. The one who was dumb and lisping, another with one eye. The one who was a dwarf, another who was of lame and had mucous eyes, one with a running nose. Such were the bhaktas, small and great, that he collected. Krishna said to them, "Come at once to the marriage." Saying this to them, Shripati himself invited Jamvanti, Satyabhama and Kalandi. Shri Krishna, taking with him Mitravinda, Yadanjiti, Lakshmana and Bhadravati, walked along for the wedding. Mother Rukmani sat in a palanquin, bringing the gopis along with her as the marriage party of the bridegroom. The kettle drums were sounded. Taking with him 8 siddhis and all female slaves, the Lord of the heart, Krishna, hurried along to the marriage of Narsi Mehta's son. As Narsi Mehta walked along the path, he danced and sang in his fullness of love. In front of him, the Lord of the world moved rapidly along. As Krishna approached the city and was in sight of it, he sent word of their approach. Tripurantak, hearing this report, was overwhelmed with amazement. The townspeople also reported that an innumerable company had come to the marriage. They would not be able to find sufficient room in the village for them. What was to be done? Some people climbed up their roofs to gaze at the people coming. As they listened to the playing of the sweet instrument, they felt the air was reverberating with sound. Tripurantak, taking the citizens of the village with him, started to meet the procession. He took with him one band of players and started out. Just as when the sun is rising, the moon disappears. Just as when a mere pool of water finding itself near the ocean is ashamed of itself. What is the flying of a grasshopper before an eagle's flight? And the luster of a piece of glass is dimmed before a priceless jewel. It was just as when a poor fellow proud of his knowledge is lost sight before a really learned man in philosophy. Or just as a poor fool is ashamed before a wise pandit. So seeing the procession of the bridegroom, all the bride's party felt very insignificant. The priest exclaimed, "O life of the world, you have come to my help. The creator of the world has come himself and made all the necessary preparations. He prepared a great beautiful pavilion with seats. Pillows, cushions, mats, wooden seats of many kinds were placed there. Ramba and Tilotma came and danced there, while all the gods were looking on. There were many kinds of gifts and perfumes of kesar, musk, sandalwood. God himself, coming with the procession of the bridegroom, sat down with them. Mother Rukmani sat in the midst of female party of the bridegroom, which made a delightful circle. The wife of Narsi Mehta came and sat down near her. There were many kinds of garlands of flowers around their necks, and in the midst of the assembly of bhaktas, the holder of Sharangbo, Krishna, sat full of joy. Taking the people of the town with him, Tripurantak started out to meet Narsi. As he came near to them, the Lord of Vaikunt arose. Hari, with all the bhaktas around him, embraced those who were to become their relatives. Krishna spoke in a gentle voice to Tripurantak. He said, "When a river is in the flood of pumpkin raft, takes one to the other side. In the same way, Narsi Mehta is to be united to you in relationship, true and close. Just as when the life of anyone is coming to an end, the nectar prevents him from death, so this God-loving Bhakt Narsi Mehta is to be in relation to you of that kind. You were about to fall into lust, anger, pride, and the other diseases of life, and in order that all these may be put away from you, you have gained a Vaishnav relative. When the touchstone touches iron, rich people make ornaments of it. So through him we have the opportunity of meeting you." Hearing him say this, Tripurantak replied, "Tell me please your name. I had never met you before. Where have you come from?" Hearing him, God Supreme answered, "My name is Savalsa. I am the one who buys and sells for Narsi Mehta. I live in Dwarika and act as his agent. I am the only one who understands his personality." Thus spoke the life of the world, and no one recognized who he was. No one understands the glory of his delighter of the mind and skillful in acts of illusions. And with those words, we'll end this capsule here with a promise to be back with you to tell you the remaining part of this story of the great Bhakt Narsi Mehta. Until then, goodbye, good luck, and Sadar Pranam.